As we know, the Clippers parted ways with Chris Paul, and Chris Haynes reached out to CP3 to see what was next, and he replied, "I'm just staying ready. I'm hooping right now. I don't know what's next. I'm still scarred by it all. Still processing everything, but I'm staying ready." And then Blake Griffin got on a FaceTime with Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan not long after this all went down, and here's what he and Udonis Haslem had to say about the situation.
I'm just disappointed, to be honest. I can't think of really another word. Obviously shocked at first, but disappointed. I'm disappointed for Chris Paul, but I'm disappointed in the Clippers organization. I mean, Chris Paul was a guy who came to the Clippers when DeAndre and I were first and second year guys. He brought a winning culture. He taught us how to operate in the NBA and how to take every game seriously, how to take your body seriously, that there was no detail that was too small. And we weren't perfect, right? Like we didn't ultimately win a championship. I know that. I'm reminded of it every day. And CP and I didn't always see eye to eye. But I'm disappointed because we got to a franchise that was synonymous with jokes, right? You heard the Clippers and you heard cursed. And again, we didn't win a championship, but we did create a culture and an environment that people respected. You know, every year you knew the Clippers were going to be competitive. And Chris Paul for 20 years has been the same player. He's been about winning. And you know, re-signing with the Clippers, this was supposed to be his moment. His you know, I'm coming back to LA. You know, I'm giving it one last go. And for him to not get to walk out on his own terms from the franchise that he chose to go to end his career is extremely disappointing. But I think the biggest reason I'm disappointed is what Chris said. No communication with Ty Lue. And even more than that, you know, no communication. I talked to CP Wednesday. I talked to him yesterday. I talked to him today. No communication with Steve Ballmer. And that's like the disappointing thing for me.
Yeah. I spoke to Chris about the FaceTime that he posted on Instagram of you, him, and DeAndre. He said in a very complicated day with lots of emotions that really lifted his spirits, having that conversation with all of you. But like, I have to ask, you, of course, had your own ups and downs with the Clippers organization. Does that shape how you view how they handled this?
Yeah, I mean, our experiences always shape, you know, how we see everything. You know, I always go back to that clip. I think everybody's seen it. I was shooting free throws pregame and running off the court, and Steve Ballmer tries to come up and shake my hand, and oh, there it is again. And that was my pregame routine. I meant nothing by that, and I said I'll say the same thing right now that I said then. You know, he has my number. It could have been a situation where he just reached out, hey, I want to talk, and it doesn't change what happened, doesn't change how it happened, but it does. Give me a certain amount of closure, just because it's like, hey, we had to make decisions, he had to make a decision, and it's all good. But like I said, I'm disappointed that nobody's reached out to Chris because, you know, this organization's been through a lot. And you know, you can build a new arena, you can be at games, you can cheer on the team, you can have all this high energy. But at the end of the day, an organization is built on a foundation of respect.
Yes.
And it's built on how you treat people. And I don't think that in this situation, Chris was treated right. So I'm sort of at a loss for words a little bit. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are two sides to every story. And UD, Chris Paul's leadership has become somewhat a topic of discussion within all of this. What questions do you have about if or how that played a role?
I mean, for me, as I've been a locker room guy who's had to reinvent himself over and over and over just to be a part of winning and help other guys that come in. The thing that disappoints me, and the same thing with Blake, it's two parts to communication. There's giving and there's receiving of the communication. We all understand that Chris is an acquired taste and he's not for everybody, but neither was I. But I was given the respect and the relationship with my coaches to open up the door, to have a conversation. So every message that I echoed was in line with the message of the coaching staff and the coach. When I saw that clip right there and I look on that bitch and I see T. Lue, I see Brian Shaw, I see guys who sat in the locker room. I see guys who were part of that brotherhood. So I understand Chris Paul might have ruffled some feathers, but we never turned our back on our brothers. When the door is open, especially when you're a coach that played, that door is open for your vets. That is where I am disappointed. Chris Paul could have said, a lot of things that rub people the wrong way. He still should have been able to walk in that office and have an eye-to-eye communication, man-to-man conversation with T. Lue. Everything that I have ever done in this league and everything that I've ever accomplished, it's always come with eye-to-eye communication. It's never been behind the back. It's never head down being cynical. It's always eye-to-eye communication. And that's what I think the problem was. There was just no eye-to-eye communication with T. Lue and Chris Paul, because if you have Chris Paul on your side, even with the leadership skills that he has, if you can somewhat meet him where he's at, then you have an ally in your locker room.